What is going on, you guys? Welcome to the video. Now, I know that this is going to be a bit of a controversial one, and hey, that's fine by me, all right? I'm sorry if this video offends you, but I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to help you make some money, and in this case, actually save some money. So feel free to let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. But if you are somebody that's looking to get into the marijuana industry, or maybe you are already invested in some marijuana stocks because, hey, this is a young, budding industry. We have legalization right around the corner, October 17th. Maybe you're thinking that this will be a great investment for the long term. Well, I'm gonna be blunt with you guys. I think that you're getting in at a very bad price. And if I were personally holding marijuana stocks right now, I'd likely be looking to lock in some of my profits if I'd made some, if not take my entire position off the table. So in today's video, I just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts, my opinions on why I say this. When it comes to investing, there's always gonna be two sides to the story. You have the right to your opinion, I have the right to mine, but all I ask is you at least hear me out, especially if you're a new investor, because I just don't wanna see anybody losing a bunch of money. And don't get me wrong here, I'm no anti-weed guy, all right? And I completely understand that this is a young industry with a ton of potential. I only think that legal marijuana is going to become more and more popular. This is an industry that will at some point be pulling in billions and billions of dollars, but that doesn't negate the fact here that these stocks are currently overvalued. And let me explain what I mean by that with a couple of examples. Cryptocurrency. Another field that I think has a ton of potential, right? Blockchain technologies, I mean, the applications of the blockchain that they can have in our society, the impact that these features can have in our lives, for anybody that's familiar with this space, guys, is huge, all right? Huge potential here. But that doesn't justify Bitcoin trading at $20,000. At that point, we would say it is overvalued, and look where it is now. We can think back to the early 2000s when we had the rise of the internet, the tech boom, where companies like Amazon and Cisco were trading at crazy valuations because people were excited for this new technology, right? It was a new industry, the internet was new, and it was gonna change the world. Now, no one's here to argue that the internet was not revolutionary. Of course it was, man. What are you watching this video on? And at one point we saw Cisco with a market cap of $500 billion, which was actually valued at the time as the largest company in the world, before companies like itself and Amazon lost 98% of their value when things came crashing down. Now, I'm not here to argue that the marijuana industry is not going to be huge, because I'm a firm believer that it will. We're seeing very positive signs with things like legalization. We're seeing investments by bigger and more established industries. We take, for example, the big one in the news, guys, of course, as of recently, was Constellation's investment, their $5 billion investment in Canopy. There's a ton of potential here, like blockchain and like the internet back in the early 2000s, but that doesn't negate the fact that these stocks are overvalued. We have to understand that as investors, there is a very big difference between the share price and a company's intrinsic value. And just as a reminder to anybody, or if you're new to the stock market, a stock just represents a tiny portion of a company. And in a perfect world, we'd see, the outstanding shares that are floating around in the stock market be relatively equal to what the company is actually worth, right? If we have a company that's worth $1 billion, well, we'd have about $1 billion of shares outstanding. Now, the reality is that's not how the stock market works. And these share prices are constantly fluctuating above and below what the company's actually worth for whatever reason. And this is where you'll hear the term, overvalued and undervalued. And in my opinion, as we'll look at the numbers in a second, we are seeing these major marijuana companies trading, far higher than what the companies are actually worth. And when we have a situation like this with these high valuations, there's really two options as to how things will play out. The first option is that the companies will increase their production, the companies will grow into and justify the current valuations. Or the second option, which is what I'm worried about, is that the share price or the market cap falls to meet where the company currently stands. And especially with an industry as volatile as the marijuana industry, where there are so many variables still at play, there are so many things that can trigger this downwards spiral. And if you guys haven't seen Jeremy's video on the financial education channel, I think it was 5 reasons why he won't invest in weed stocks. I'll link it for you guys in the description below, but I think he did a very, very good job and is one of his better videos as of recently, just explaining, 5 of the major risks that are still involved with this space. Regulation, these are new companies with management. To me, it's just crazy that people will be getting in at these levels thinking that they're making a great long-term investment without even understanding really these sky-high valuations. And I think that a lot of people can end up getting burned if they aren't aware about this. And just to emphasize why I think these companies are overvalued, we can look here at Canopy Growth for an example, which of course is the leader in the space. With its current market cap of $13 billion, in other words, how much money is invested in this company, at a $13 billion valuation, that puts it larger than a company like Under Armour, an established business that is driving over $5 billion a year in revenue. Guys, Canopy Growth has yet to turn a profit, all right? They haven't seen a profit yet. Over the trailing 12 months, they've pulled in $88 million in revenue and they've lost $142 million. Now, to be fair, you can't compare these two companies apples to apples, all right? They're two very different companies in two very different industries at two very different stages. A company like Canopy is in the growing phase. They are going to be spending and reinvesting, but the point here being is that the numbers don't look strong. In my opinion, they definitely don't look strong enough to justify a $13 billion market cap. And really, what's driving it and keeping these stocks where they are is just the hope and hype surrounding this blazing hot industry. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that you can't make money in this space. The same way that before Bitcoin crashed, there were a ton of people making some very nice returns. Before the tech crash, again, leading up to that time, there were some outstanding returns for investors. But in my opinion, I do think that we are coming towards a bit of a peak in the cycle. When you start to hear, people that have never invested before saying things like, should I buy Canopy or Aurora? And no offense if that's you, that's typically a sign, guys, that you're kind of reaching the peak of a cycle. Whether we're there yet or not, nobody knows. I don't know, but I do think we're getting kind of close to that. The point here that I want to get across is that there's a very big difference between a new young industry and you getting in at a good price. Those are two very, very different things. And if you are looking to get into the marijuana industry over the next little while, over the short term, I mean it from the bottom of my heart, best of luck to you. Just as always, when you're investing in a risky industry like this, only invest money that you're willing to lose, because in my opinion, you're not getting in at a good price. As an investor, at least the way that I was taught, you want to identify stocks that are undervalued, trading below a company's intrinsic value, and with the marijuana industry, that is definitely not the case. So guys, those are my thoughts on why you should sell your weed stocks. Seriously, if you've been fortunate enough to have been holding these stocks, through this recent run up, this great run up, and you are in the green, you got some nice profits, I definitely don't think it would be a bad idea at a minimum to lock in those profits, maybe let the rest of your position run. You don't want to get greedy and end up giving that back to the market. And especially if you're a new investor thinking you're getting in the early days, you're getting into a nice young industry, think about the prices that they're trading at, all right? Two very different things. And it would really, really suck if you are new to investing, you put a bunch of money or a little bit of money in the stock market, and over the next little while, you see that drop, 20, 30, 40 or 50+%, which is a real possibility with the marijuana industry, especially for someone without a whole lot of experience. That would be probably pretty tough, and you may find yourself in a position where you kind of panic and sell at a loss. So if you enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a like. Again, these are just my thoughts, and feel free to leave your comments and opinions down below. I read all the comments. I'm very interested in hearing whether you guys agree or disagree. So leave your comments down below. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I post a video every Monday. So subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And as always, I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.